Welcome back. We're here to talk about Sunday's Premier League match between Liverpool and Norwich. We'll start with the home side, Pascal, looking to bounce back from that devastating defeat to Manchester United last time out.
Yeah, it was a poor one, wasn't it? The first half, there wasn't really much to talk about in the first half. A really slow-going game, and 0-0 was the right scoreline at half-time, but it really sprung to life in the second half. And United scored quickly after the restart with that. It was a well-worked set piece, to get Blind the shot. But I think Rodgers will be disappointed the way that United, were able to carve out that shooting opportunity. Credit Blind, it was a great finish, picked out the corner brilliantly, and then, the second goal, Joe Gomez. That's where he had a very good start to the season for me, and I've been surprised that he's kept his place for this long. But that just showed his immaturity a little bit, the way he dived in there. Herrera just got his body across and made sure that there was contact. It was a silly challenge. Herrera sticks away the penalty, and at 2-0 there. It's a very difficult game, but then they get back into the game with that absolute wonder strike from Benteke, a phenomenal goal the way it came out of the sky, and he was lining up for a long time. I think perhaps the defender could have done more, but you have to say it was a superb strike. And at that point, you think maybe they can get back in the game and get a point, but then Martial, he wrote the headlines with that. It was a brilliant solo goal. The finish especially was great, the way he picked out the corner, but Skirtle's got to be very disappointed the way he sort of managed to wriggle through and get the shooting opportunity. So yeah, it was a very disappointing defeat. To your arch rivals makes it even worse, and they've gone off the boil a bit after starting the season okay, and so it's that result was sort of probably the worst one so far. But on the whole, it's not been a great start.
No, it hasn't, and questions are being asked of Rodgers. He started the season as the favourite for first manager to be sacked now, and a lot of Liverpool fans turned on him after that United game especially. There were big questions over his tactics, and there were warranted questions as well, because he didn't throw the kitchen sink at United even at 2-0 down when they're chasing the game. He stayed with the same tactics. Benteke leading the line, Ings on the left. Ings looked lost on the left. It's not his position. He's a centre forward. He's a poacher. He's a finisher in the box. He'll work hard on the left. He'll do that job for the team, but it's not his best position. Obviously, his hand was forced a bit, Rodgers, with Coutinho's suspension, but still questions should be raised with tactics. We thought they were going to go for a diamond and two up top, which would have tested United a bit more, I think. And he's done the diamond with success in the past for Liverpool, so it was quite a surprise that he didn't do that. But questions should be raised of Rodgers for that one. I'm not among the group of Liverpool fans who I think there's been a petition signed for him to be sacked. There's been a fundraising thing for him to be sacked, which I think is embarrassing from Liverpool fans. But he does need to start improving, because his signings this season, they've settled in fairly well, but there's big questions over his his record in the transfer market. This season, it hasn't been entirely encouraging. Started with 2 wins, but neither of them were exactly ones to blow the other team away. Both 1-0 victories and then a draw and 2 defeats. So it hasn't been the best start to the season for Liverpool. They need improving, and a win this weekend would be a huge boost for them and Rodgers, because he needs it.
Yeah, and obviously the big boost is Coutinho being back after that red card suspension, and he's left Benteke behind for the Europa League trip, so he obviously doesn't want to risk him there. I think he's going to give Origi a chance there, so it'd be interesting to see if he can maybe do something, because Origi hasn't really shown too much at all that he's sort of ready to play for a team like Liverpool. So it'd be a boost to get Coutinho back. Jordan Henderson, there's the news that he doesn't need surgery, flown out to the United States to see a specialist, and I think they've just done some injections in his heel, but he's already been out a lot longer than he was expected to be, so you wonder if that's one of those niggling injuries that might just cause him trouble for a long time until it's fully fixed. You look at players like, say, Wilshere, who's never quite been able to get a string of games together, and you just hope that Henderson hasn't got one of those injuries that could really plague him for a long time. And so he's out of this game, but Adam Lallana, Joe Allen, they could both be back, so that's a boost. But Coutinho is the big one, him being able to come back, and Liverpool, they need some wins here. They've got a couple of very winnable games coming up. Norwich here, then Villa, because their fixtures get so difficult in October and November. They've got the Europa League to contend with, coming up the group stage for that, and then they've got Everton, Spurs, Southampton, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Man City, and Swansea, all in October and November. And all of those sides, Chelsea haven't had a great start, but they're still the champions, so they're a very good team. And the others have all started the season pretty well, and they're top teams. So it's a really difficult October and November coming up for Liverpool. So a game like this, they have to bounce back here after that United defeat against a side. I know Norwich, they're above them in the table, Norwich, but it's a side that you should be beating at home. Liverpool, they've got a great record against Norwich as well. Suarez loved playing against them. He scored hat-tricks against them for fun. So Liverpool hope that playing Norwich at home, it's a game that they can win.
Yeah, Norwich, they'll certainly come into this as big underdogs, even though, as you mentioned, they are above them in the table. Last time out against Bournemouth, it was a much improved performance from Norwich. They've been pretty decent for the start to the season. They've played well in all games apart from that Southampton one before the international break. Obviously, that they were hindered by the red card in that game, so bit of an anomaly of a result so far in terms of how the Premier League season's gone. Alex Neil's side, they've adapted pretty well to being back in the top flight, and the win against Bournemouth would have been a huge boost for them, because obviously they came up with Bournemouth last season only via the playoffs though, and Bournemouth won the league, of course, so Bournemouth would have gone into that match as favourites, but comfortable winners in that one, 3-0 in the end. Whereas Houlihan ran the show. If he can do that more often, then he'll be a really good player for them. He obviously got the assist when holding his shin pad in the hand when running through, got the goal as well, and Jerome getting his first Premier League goal of the season, big boost as well for him, because he's such a good Championship striker, Jerome, but he's never been able to do it in the Premier League really. So if they can get him getting the goals in the top flight, then obviously that will go a big way towards helping them stay up as well. So many positives from that Bournemouth game, I think, for Alex Neil to take.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Jerome there. He's certainly probably their best striker to start games, but Lewis Graben, Gary Hooper, neither of them's been, well, Graben's been suspended because of when he went AWOL at the team hotel. They need him to come back and start really wanting to play for the team. Hooper, it looked like he might be going out on loan in the recent transfer window, but he hasn't gone. And I think they need them both really to offer options if, say, a game just isn't working out for Jerome, because I think Alex Neil did struggle to make the signings he wanted this summer. I think their squad does look a little thin, but even then, like you say, they're putting some really good performances. And in that Bournemouth game, I think Houlihan really impressed me. He's a sort of player, I think he kind of reminds me about in some ways like Juan Mata, the way he plays. If the game's right for him and it's the right pace and he's seeing enough of the ball, he can just run the show. But I think in some games he's just because he's quite a slow player. If Norwich are on the back foot and they need him chasing players around, he might not quite fit into that. But when the game's right for him, he can really affect a game like he did against Bournemouth, and he completely ran the show in that one. So Norwich are looking good, but their fixtures, they are going to get a bit harder here. A trip to Liverpool here is very difficult. And then, they've got West Ham and Leicester in their next two, and you probably say it's the wrong time to be playing those two teams. West Ham are looking good, Leicester, both of those, they're in the top five, those two teams. So maybe playing them at the wrong time. Liverpool away from home, looking to bounce back. The fixtures are going to get harder, so it's a really testing sort of, month or two coming up for Norwich.
You mentioned their poor record against Liverpool. Do you see them getting anything out of this game?
I don't think Liverpool will be at their best. I can't see, the results of when Suarez was there, scoring 5-6 against Norwich. I can't see anything like that, but I think it'll be fairly comfortable for Liverpool to go 3-0.
Yeah, I agree with a comfortable enough Liverpool victory. As you say, they're not going to hit 5 or 6 anymore because they haven't got those goals in the team anymore, but I can see them fairly comfortably winning this one. I'm going to go for 2-0. So both going for comfortable Liverpool victories. Thanks for joining us.